So here we are in Northamptonshire with Issy and Jet. And Jet's, God, he's got wider. But then the improvements to his way of going and everything's immense.
Oh, really?
And he's just got, you know, so we've just adjusted the saddle again, and, you know, he's comfortable again, and it's just really fantastic. I mean, rarely do I see horses change, or certainly this type of horse change so much.
Really?
But yeah.
Oh,
but
wow.
you know, it's just amazing. But you've done so much with him, Issy.
Well, he started off with the idea of being a sort of competition dressage horse.
Okay.
But that never really worked. But I'm still really, really interested in the principles, the original principles of dressage, as in training. And for both of us, I want us both to kind of, you know, him to develop his athletic potential to the best that it can be, and for me to, I want that centaur feeling, so that we feel like we're, you know, at one. And you know, I don't think we're ever going to make it to, well, medium, let alone anything else.
You never know.
But I mean, he's got the ability, but I probably haven't got the years in me. But yeah, over the past, you know, since I last saw you, I think we've been doing a lot of hacking and a lot of work to try and get his back to be free and mobile. So I'm really glad that his back has...
It's really broadened up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we were thinking about when we first fitted him, I don't think he was that wide. And it's just over the years, you know, he's just got... It's amazing. But obviously, you know, there's so much you've done with him to help with that. And obviously, you know, people helping you work with him as well. We were amazed last time because you were riding around and doing everything by voice commands, which was really good. And it's just
I still use a lot of voice commands.
It's good.
Well, he's really sensitive. His skin's very sensitive, and so I find the more gripping I do on him, the less likely he is to go forwards, and the more grumpy he gets. So if I sort of talk to him and we say, and ready, and then he knows that that's the kind of, you know, that primes him up. That's kind of like the half halt before the transition. And then I can say trot or canter, and when we're actually moving, and I think there are probably sort of like things happening in my seat and position.
Yeah, of course,
well.
and it's almost the subconscious. I mean, it might be vocalising, but it's probably the, you know, he can pick up on all of that, as obviously as well as the words.
And he can probably pick up on it a lot better now that the saddle's not pinching.
Yes, exactly. Because the thing is it got to the stage when the saddles are just a little bit too narrow. They just rock around. All saddles rock around a little bit if they're not wide enough, and it's not the best for him, not the best for you. But now adjusting it, you're sat back deep, close, secure, and that lovely feeling of you know, really feeling the horse's movement.
No, it feels an awful lot better, and I have been really lucky with the help that I'd had with him. You know, with Lucinda McAlpine.
Exactly.
She's been wonderful, and of course introduced me to ReactorPanel saddles and to you, and that's made. You know, he's a very short horse, and I was originally worried that this seems quite a big saddle. But I think because of the size of the panel, he's got so much more freedom in his shoulders than he ever used to have. And the big difference is that, you know, when I'm riding better, he can mobilise his back. He can
and you can
to
feel that
through
happening, which is so nice.
Yeah.
Because the saddles communicate so much feeling.
Yes, exactly.
But the panels aren't low bearing on the ends, and so what they do, they disperse the weight very kindly, but they're not very low bearing on the ends. So it gives us the opportunity to actually fit a bigger saddle in a smaller space. But I mean, he's a big boy. He can you know, take this.
Yes, and I can put the saddle on at liberty, which I think is quite an achievement. You know, I can come into the field with the saddle, and you know, and I can tack him up in the field, and I think, you know, that's quite a big ask for any horse,
so.
because
I agree.
Because I think, you know, all of them would rather just spend their day eating grass and you know, mooching around with their mates. But I think part of it is, you know, we now hack an awful lot more than I ever used to when I was being more serious about dressage, and he loves it. I can see how the endurance horses get a thrill out of life, because I mean, this horse was the stodgiest, most backward-thinking thing you could ever have.
I'll cover his ears.
We go out. Well, I bored him senseless. I mean, it wasn't him. And we go out into the fields, and Wally comes to my other horse, who's behind Ginny. Yeah, we're going to see Wally.
So if you ride round, we're going to see Wally move.
Yeah. So Wally comes too on the hacks. And we go out, and Jet's got his ears pricked down. He strides forward like a tiger. He's got these huge long strides, and his ears are pricked, and his back's swinging, and his tail's swinging. And sometimes Wally, who's a bit bigger with longer legs and a longer stride, actually has to trot a bit to keep up. And although when Jet goes into his lovely little canter, Wally can do an extended
Yeah.
trot.
We saw him earlier.
Yeah. Well, shall I sort of move around?
Yeah, just
bit?
have a ride around and you know, we'll just film you riding.
Okay.
And,
You ought to try a few pleasure rides.
I should do really, but I'd have to take him.
That's true.
That's the only thing.
I ride and lead pleasure rides. Do they have such a thing?
Because you were saying you take Wiley with you when you go out riding down the lanes.
Yeah, and out on the road as well.
Really?
Yeah, I take him. He wears a cavesson.
Okay.
A Portuguese cavesson.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because I felt that with a bit, sometimes if he balks or something, I don't like the idea of the bit getting,
Yeah.
jamming in his mouth.
Absolutely.
So we use a cavesson, and
Well, it works for you.
yeah, it works for me. A couple of times in the fields, I've lost him,
Oh no.
but he just follows.
No, that's fine.
It's as long as I don't ever lose him on the road, it's fine.
That would be very, very difficult.
Yes, that wouldn't be good. Good boy. So despite riding for years, I'm recently having more lessons on trying to get my lower leg to stay still, and I'm sure that there are loads of riders who like me really struggle with that in riding
Yeah.
trot. So I'm trying really hard to think about that and not to move my hands, and it's helping Jet.
Really?
Yeah, he can go forward much more because I'm hopefully restricting him less.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still obviously a hell of a long way to go, but you know, it's all a journey.
It is.
So, are you ready, Jet? Ready? Hunter? Good boy. Boy.
And Wally's not joined in.
No, he hasn't joined in.
He's been a good boy.
Could try and encourage him a bit.
Well, it's good to exercise both horses.
Well, I know that is one of the really good things of ride and lead, and especially because they're both barefoot.
Well,
So
exactly.
if we hack along the lanes, it's really good for both of them.
But it's very good for their feet.
Ready? Oh, good boy.
Now, Wally prefers the grass.
Yeah. Okay, ready? And there we go. Good boy.
It's a very good boy. Don't jump. So thank you for that. He looks a very happy chappy.
He is. I think he is. I think it makes such a difference
Just
for
a
him to
bit
be
loose,
living.
but we'll look at that. Yeah, don't worry.
Oh well, they do.
Yeah, well, it's just life.
The thing is, he looks so much more relaxed than when we first met
Well,
him.
we-
He just seems to get more
We
chilled
see
all the time.
improvements every time we see him, which is really nice.
That is really
But
good.
the thing is, it's very, you know, obviously being on top of him is you don't see them as dramatic as we do. let's say.
What I feel the difference is just that he feels more grounded. I think he feels more able to be the horse that I think he really is.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas in a more artificial environment, because I have them sort of free range, so they can go in and out at their will. And when he was a horse that was stabled, you know, especially 24/7, he really struggled with that mentally and
Yeah,
physically.
yeah.
He became really tight through
Well,
here,
mine did much the same.
and his head was just, you know, everything was kind of. And I'm an amateur rider, so he can spook, like he's so short coupled.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a cow horse, you know, or a bullfighting horse. It can really spin.
Really turn round.
Yeah, even though he looks looks
Innocent.
very sedate.
Yes, of course.
He can, and he can buck pretty well too.
Yeah, I can imagine. But he's an athlete after all. This is
Yeah.
breeding, so.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's got. He's by a Scudo, the show
Okay.
jumping stallion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of like see
Yeah.
that if you imagine him
Yeah.
a bit sleeker and
Yeah,
clipped and and jumping over fences. And he has got a good pop on him as well.
Not bad.
At Lucinda's, she'd put up a little bounce, and he didn't bother to bounce it. He just took the whole thing, and I was videoing it at the time, so I've still got the video somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, and he jumped the whole thing, and you just hear Lucinda and me in the background go, "Oh my God!"
Oh well, if you ever wanted to take up that, we do jumping saddles.
Yeah, I don't think I'm brave enough to.
You've got to be very brave.
Yeah, I'm too old. I used to jump when I was a kid, but.